Hey everyone, this is Ken, and welcome to part 2 of my 5-part case study in which I go over how I made $1,000 in 48 hours. Now, if you missed part 1, go back and watch part 1 because it's going to give you a high-level overview of how this entire promotion works, okay? Now, in part number 2, we are going to be going over the email hype sequence, okay? We talked about this in part number 1, and in part number 1, I had talked about sending out 5 hype sequence emails. I did some checking, and as it turns out, I only did 4 of these emails. So we are going to get rid of this one email here, and then we are going to just focus on these 4 today. So in today's video, part number 2, we are going to go over each one of these emails. I'm going to show you how I put these emails together, and then you'll get a clear understanding of how this sequence works and why it is written the way that it is. I'm also going to go over my philosophy on writing these types of emails. So let's dive right in. All right, so before we head into my email autoresponder and start putting together the emails and formatting them, I wanted to show you the process that I go through when I'm putting together an email automation, okay? So first of all, I like to pre-write my emails. And in this case, if there is a promotion that's happening and I know beforehand when it's happening, I want to give myself ample time to put together these emails. Now, in this case, I didn't have very much time to put together my hype emails. So if you remember, in video number 1, I had these 4 hype emails. I didn't have very much time to do them. So I made the conscious decision, and I wanted to tell people exactly what it was. Now, typically, when it comes to a hype sequence, if you have enough time, okay, you can sit down and write these emails and really take the time to really hype up that product or that service or that webinar that you want people to attend. Okay, so that means you're able to talk a little bit about it, touch upon some of their pain points, and really generate interest, okay, for them to sign up for the webinar. Again, I didn't have very much time, and the Advanced Traffic Blueprint is something where it's promoted every other month, okay? So I wanted to be a little bit more direct, a little bit more straightforward when speaking directly to my contact list. So in email number 1, you can see here, I wrote 2 subject lines, and I always try to write 2 subject lines, and you're gonna find out in video number 3 why I do that, okay? And it's basically because I want to be able to catch people during the time of day when they're able to actually read my email, because people have lives, they're busy, and they don't always read your emails. So you need to follow up with those people in order to catch their attention, okay? So that's the reason why I always like to write 2 subject lines, okay? Now, if you look at this first email here, I really take the time to address, the elephant in the room. Making money online is not easy, right? We all know that. That's the reason why we're all out there trying to figure out how to do it, okay? And so I wanted to really tell people that, hey, I was struggling too. I want to connect with you. I was struggling as well, and I really didn't start turning the corner until I learned about launch jacking. Okay, and so from there, I want to invite people to the free workshop hosted by Philip at this specific date and time, and what they're going to learn. What is this about? What are they going to learn during this webinar? And most importantly, if you need the extra help, I want to let people know that Philip is also opening the doors to his 30-day coaching group called the Advanced Traffic Blueprint. So now this kind of just lets people know what this is all about. They're going to learn about launch jacking, but they're also going to learn about this 30-day coaching group led by my coach, okay? And I also added in this line right here where it says, tomorrow, look for my 90-second video that gives you a high-level overview of the Advanced Traffic Blueprint. Now, the reason why I did that was because I wanted to plant the seed in their mind that, hey, Ken is going to be sending an email to me tomorrow, and there's going to be a video a 90-second video, a very short video that's going to give me a high-level overview of this advanced traffic blueprint thing that he's talking about. Okay, so that's the reason why I did that. And so that's email number 1. Now, email number 2, this email right here. Since I've already mentioned that I am going to be sending them an email with a link to a 90-second video, of course, this email is about that. Okay, so again, I have 2 subject headlines here, or 2 subject lines. Okay, and in this particular email, I'm asking them, hey, did you register? Okay, did you register for the free webinar? Okay, and if not, here is a link to the 90-second video that I told you about the other day, and it's going to explain why you should attend. Okay, if someone doesn't attend the first time, seeing the first email, which is probably highly unlikely that they would, by having a follow-up email, I'm now explaining to them in video, nonetheless, why they should attend. A very, very short video, okay? So that video, it is right here. It sits between this email where I'm sending them to this hype page over to the registration page, okay? So, and in video number 4, I'm actually going to show you the hype page as well as the hype video and how I put all of that stuff together. So you're gonna have to stick through this entire series so you can learn how you can do that as well. Now, this link right here does not go directly to the registration page. As I mentioned, it's gonna go to a page that sits in between the email and the registration page, okay? Now, again, I'm gonna reiterate with them what's gonna be shared, why it's important to them, because in our niche, in the Make Money Online niche, or in any affiliate marketing niche for that matter, traffic is always the key. That's the one thing that seems to elude everybody. And that's what I'm trying to reach my audience with, my contacts, because they sign up because they want to learn helpful tips and information for their business. And traffic is always one of the biggest questions that I get is, how do I drive traffic, okay? And not only, we're not talking about just traffic, we're talking about free traffic, all right? No paid ads. Now, I also talk a little bit about the Advanced Traffic Blueprint Coaching Program. And again, my call to action is watch this 90-second video. It's so short, just watch it, because I'm going to explain to you why you should attend this webinar, okay? And then here down below, people always have questions, right? And I want to be open and transparent. That's how I run my business. And I want people to reach out to me. I want people to reach out to me and communicate and ask me questions. Feel free. Because lots of times people are shy and they don't want to ask questions. But now I give them an opportunity to. They can reply to the email. They can reach me via Skype and we can chat that way. And then down below, I add another PS. And I'm asking them, or I'm telling them to look for another email, which is happening the very next day, where I'm going to tell them that they're going to be receiving something for attending, okay? So that is email number 2. Now in email number 3, again, I've come up with 2 subject lines here, okay? And in this email, I'm going to be talking about the special bonuses. I'm letting them know that you're going to be getting 3 special bonuses if you attend this free webinar, okay? And I also make it very clear, click on this link to register, okay? So now we've already kind of built up that relationship. They know the reason why they're being emailed, and I just want them to register. So being very direct, click on this link to register. And I also want to make sure that I address the people who've already registered. So if they open up the email, they'll see, hey, if you registered already, please disregard this email. And then I also want to talk about, again, what they're going to be learning in this webinar, and just remind them that they're going to be getting some special bonuses for attending. Now, right here, I also add in my link again for my 90-second video, okay? Just in case they need that little extra information to make them comfortable about their decision for registering. And lastly, again, reach out to me via email or via Skype. I'm here for you. Ask me any questions that you want, because this is a very important webinar and I want you to be comfortable before going and joining it, okay? And then PS, see you tomorrow. So this email happens the day before the webinar happens. Okay, so this is the email right here. Okay, and this last email right here, email number 4, right down here, you notice I've only got one subject line. And that's something that I learned and that I'm going to reveal to you, I'm going to talk about in my last video, video number 5, where I talk about some of the things that I've learned, things that worked, things that didn't work, because I learned a lot. Every time you run these types of automations or these types of promotions, you're going to learn something new and that you can incorporate going forward and maybe even test to see if it works, okay? So for the last email, I decided to just send it out once, okay? And just a friendly reminder that the webinar was happening that very day, okay? So this email gets sent out the very day of the webinar. And I also let them know that it's not too late to attend, okay? You can register up to the minute before this webinar starts, and you can also go ahead and watch that, okay? And by attending, I remind them that you're going to get 3 free bonuses. Also, too, I want them to know that I'm going to be there. I attend all of these webinars that Philip does, the live ones, and I'm always active in the chat. So, you'll see me in there and say hi to me because I'm live, and I will respond back to you during those times. And those are the 4 emails that I sent in this email hype sequence. Now, I'm going to go next into ActiveCampaign, and we are going to set up those 4 emails, and I'm going to show you how I do it. All right, so now we're inside of my ActiveCampaign account. Now, you may have a different autoresponder, and that's totally fine. In this example, I just want to walk you through how I put together my campaigns, and you can try and replicate it in your own autoresponder software. So the first thing I do is I create a campaign. And I'm going to give my campaign a name, and we're going to just call this ATB case study, okay? Now, you name it whatever you want to name it, but I name it, the naming convention for me is something that I can remember and is easily referenced at a later date. And I'm also going to choose the campaign type. So this is where ActiveCampaign is a little bit different than, let's say, a GetResponse, where GetResponse, you can create drafts and then add them to an automated sequence. In this case, I'm actually going to build the automated sequence, and then in the next video, in video number 3, I'm actually going to configure the automation, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the basic foundation of this automation together. So let's choose automated and click on next. Now, the first thing I need to do when I start up an automation is choose a trigger. Now, this may be some kind of event or something that happens that starts the automation. In this case, I'm going to leave it blank. I'm going to start this automation without a trigger. I like to start my automations for the advanced traffic blueprint. I like to start them manually, meaning that I take my list and I drop them into the automation. So that way there is no external factor that automatically starts the automation. So for me, it's more of a fail-safe type of a thing. So for you, you may think of a different way that you want to start it, but in this case study, the way that I started it was just to do it manually. So I'm going to start this automation without a trigger. And what is the action that's going to happen once somebody's added into this automation? Well, we're going to send them an email. So we're going to click on that link right there, and we are going to create an email because right now we don't have any emails to send. But we did create them earlier. So all we're going to have to do now is just copy, paste, and then format, okay? So now we're going to create an email. And now for the email name, this is basically for your reference only, so no one else is going to see it, none of my contacts. So I'm just going to call this, case study email 1. Okay, this is the first email in this automation. Click on create. And now ActiveCampaign is going to pull up some templates. And from here, I can choose any template that I want and configure that to the style of my brand or whatnot. Now, I've already done this beforehand where I have taken a template that ActiveCampaign has created for me, and I formatted it so that it fits my brand and my style. Okay, so we're going to just use this template right here. And now I can enter in the email subject. So we're going to go back to our document and we're going to take this first subject line here. I'm going to copy it and we're going to drop it in, and then we're going to go continue. Okay, so here we are inside of the email. This is where we're going to format everything. This is just placeholder text right here that I wrote earlier on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our document and we're going to actually copy this exact information here. Okay, and we're going to drop this in to our email. Okay, so this is the text that we had previously written. Okay, once you've pasted in your text, you're going to want to go through and format it. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that I have a lot of spaces in between. And the reason why I do that is because you don't want to have really thick paragraphs. Okay, you don't want to have 2 or 3 sentences lumped together, because what that does is it makes it seem like it's a lot longer than it really is, and people don't have the patience these days to read through a paragraph. So I limit my paragraphs to 1, maybe 2 sentences max. And the sentences, if I lump 2 sentences together, they have to be short. They can't be 2 really long sentences. Like this example right here, I've got 2 really long sentences. I would not be putting these 2 together, okay? Because that would not work. Now, these 2 right here, I could put these 2 sentences together because they're very short, okay? So that would work. But in this instance, we want to keep everything nicely spaced out so that way people can read through it and it's a lot more visually appealing, okay? So I've got a placeholder here, and this placeholder means I need to add a link, okay? So it says right here, if you're struggling, then I'm going to invite you to this workshop, okay? So I want this to be my link. Now, normally some people will just, highlight just a few words. I like to highlight the entire line just because, it just makes it easier. They can click anywhere in this sentence and be taken to the destination that I want them to go to. In this case, I want them to go to my registration page, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click on this button right here, which says link, and then I'm going to add in my link. Now, in this case, I'm just going to go ahead, I'm just going to drop in Google, okay? Just for this example, you would be dropping in the registration link for whatever registration page you are responsible for, okay? And usually this is like some kind of affiliate link, okay? So that way you get credit for whoever signs up, okay? But in this example, I'm just gonna type in Google. And once I hit OK, you can see here that it's already highlighted. It looks like a link, so people know that when they click on this, it's gonna take them to the registration page. Now, there are other things you can do to make this stand out, okay? And things like italicizing, bolding, highlighting, and you can do that throughout. It's a personal taste kind of thing. So you really have to decide where you want to strategically highlight things. You don't want to go overboard and highlight and do a lot of bolding, because what it does is it just takes away from the main thing, which is registering for the webinar. So what I did was I just highlighted a couple of things. I just highlighted something like this. I wanted people to know that he's opening the doors to his 30-day coaching program, okay? And I think I did one more. I would probably do something like highlighting this, launch jacking, so they know what the topic of this webinar is. And so that way it stands out a little bit more and doesn't take away from them signing up for the link. Now, when I'm ready with that and everything looks good, then I'll go ahead and I'll hit next. Okay, and now I get to this point where I can edit certain elements of the email itself, like the subject. The subject I've already put in, it looks good. I'm going to keep it that way. I can add in pre-header text, but I'm not going to do that. Always check your from, okay? Make sure this is what people are going to see in their email inbox. So you want to make sure that that is correct, that you have the correct email in there as well. And this is the message name. So remember, we gave this name early on when we were creating this email, okay? And so now we're going to send ourselves a test email. Now I'm going to go ahead and send it to my personal email account just because I want to make sure that everything looks good. So I'm going to type in my personal email and we're going to click send test. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to check to see what our email looks like. And as you can see, it lands perfectly in my inbox. And we're going to open this up to see what it looks like. And I'm just going to always display images here because I want to see everything that my viewer would see or my contact would see when they open up the email. So everything looks good. I did notice here, look at this, that the link is not blue, right? Normally when something's highlighted as a link, there's the line, but it normally is blue, letting people know that that is an active link. So we're going to go back and we're actually going to correct this. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. So when we go back here, we're going to just click on previous. And we're going to go back to the email and we're going to make sure that that link works properly. Now, ActiveCampaign does this occasionally, so I'm very used to it. So I'm just going to go back here. I'm just going to change this. I'm going to go in here. Actually, I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to remove the link. Okay, well, first of all, let's just copy this. We don't have to type it in again. But we're going to click on remove link. It's removed. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to unbold this. I don't know why it was bolded, but I'm going to unbold it. Click on the link. I'm going to add in the link again. And okay, this looks okay now. Okay. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on to the next step again. And then we're going to go back down and we're going to resend our test email. Okay, so we're going to go back and send this again. So the test email was sent. We're going to go back into our email inbox and here it is. Here is our second version, second round number 2. We're going to display images here and we're going to take a look. Okay, so look at the link. The link looks good. Okay, and you always want to test your links. Okay, so you want to go in and click on the link to make sure that it opens up the destination. And there you go. So the link works. We ended up on the Google search page. So now let's go back and we are going to finish this and then we're going to click save. Okay, so here is case study email 1. We highlight, we hover over that. You can see what it looks like. We're going to click on save. Okay, so there you go. That is email number 1. And we're going to repeat the process for email 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now let's add email number 2. So we're going to click on the plus symbol and we're going to send a new email and we're going to create a new email and we're going to call it case study email 2. Okay, because this is email number 2. And we're going to click create. And then we're going to go through the same process that we did in email number 1. We're going to choose the same template that we chose earlier. And now we're going to input our email subject line. So we're going to go back to our Google Doc. We're going to find the first subject line here. I'm going to copy that. We're going to paste it in and continue. All right, so now that we are in the email editing phase, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back into the email and we're going to copy the text again. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and copy email number 2. All right, copy that. We're going to go back into ActiveCampaign, highlight all of that and paste. Okay, so this is email number 2. Let's go ahead and format this, make sure everything looks good. All right, so again, I have a couple of areas for a link. Okay, so I have to remember to take a look at those. But again, you go through your email, you make sure that everything's spaced out nicely. You don't have any spelling errors, any formatting errors. And what you can do also too is take your time and go through and maybe highlight things, right? So in this instance, did you register for the free webinar on Monday, June 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern? So something like this is worth highlighting. Okay, and if not, here's a link to a short 90-second video. Okay, so this is a link. Now, this link right here is going to go to my hype page. And the hype page, as I had mentioned, is going to be covered in video number 4. But what it is basically a separate page that sits between my email and the registration page. So the page will be right in here. And what that is going to do is going to send people to this hype page. They're going to watch a very short video, in this case about 90 seconds, and from there they're going to get a brief explanation, and then they're going to be able to click on that link and go over to my registration page. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to again send people over to Google, and maybe in this case, I'll send them over to Yahoo. Okay, so we'll just go to okay, so we'll send them over to Yahoo instead. So this will kind of be like a different page, okay, for our example. And as you can see, it formats nicely, so we'll keep an eye on that, okay? And we'll go down and we see another link right here. So I'm going to remove that marker and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add another link, okay? And again, this link is going to go to my hype page, but in this case, we're going to use Yahoo, okay? So you can see both of them are looking good. And I also want to highlight another area, okay? So I've already highlighted the date and the time. I want to highlight this, okay? So he's going to be also opening up the Advanced Traffic Blueprint program to accelerate your progress. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to highlight the Advanced Traffic Blueprint, okay? And that looks good, okay? And then again, when we go down here, we'll see the PS, and this is what I'm telling people is that look for another email tomorrow, and I'm going to tell them what they're going to receive just for attending, okay? So this looks good, all right? And we're going to click next, and you're going to see that the subject is good. We don't need any pre-header text. The from address is correct, and I'm also going to add in the case study email message name. Now, over here, we're going to go ahead again and send out a test email because we want to test to see if this works properly. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my email address, my personal email address, and we're going to go ahead and test that. Okay, we're going to send a test email and we're going to check out the email. Okay, here it is. Let's open it up and let's take a look. Okay, so it made that same mistake again, which is some kind of odd thing that happens in ActiveCampaign, and this kind of stuff happens. So we're going to go back and we're going to fix that, okay? So we're going to go back to our previous page. And as you notice, it did turn black. I'm not sure why it does that, but we're going to go back in here. Actually, we're going to just do this and we're going to copy this. We're going to remove the link, okay? Must be some kind of formatting thing because it keeps bolding it, but we'll go ahead and we'll redo the link, okay? And then we're going to go back in here. We are going to remove the link, okay? And we're going to redo the link again. Okay, it looks good for now. So let's go ahead and click on next and see what happens. Okay, so let's go ahead and redo the test again. And we're going to send it to my personal Gmail account. And we're going to take a look at the newly edited version. Okay, so the links look good. I'm just going to click on a link to make sure that it works okay. It's going to take us to Yahoo. And there you go. Now we are here in Yahoo. So the link works. So that was email number 2. So we'll go ahead and finish that. And now we are going to save this email. And as you can see, we've got email 1 and we've got email 2. And we're going to do the same process for email number 3 and email number 4. All right, let's get started on email number 3. So we're going to press the plus button here and we're going to send an email. Then we're going to create a new email. And this is where we're going to name this one case study email 3. Okay, and we're going to create that new email. We're going to choose our template. We're going to give this email a name. Now we're going to go back to our email document. Here's email number 3, and we're going to choose our first subject line, and we're going to add it in here, paste it, and continue. Okay, now we are in our email editor again, and we're going to go ahead, we're going to just highlight this. We're going to go in here, we're going to copy all of this email again, okay? We're going to copy this, we're going to head in here, and we're going to paste the new text in here. Again, we're going to go ahead and check the formatting, see if everything looks good, okay? I noticed that I have got 2 links again. Now, I definitely want to bold some areas, and I want to highlight this area right here. And we're going to just do this. We're going to highlight that because we want people to understand that Philip is giving away some special bonuses, okay? And this is where they're going to click to go ahead and visit the registration page. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add a link. And in the past, we used Google to substitute for our registration page. So this is just a placeholder. Normally you would place your registration page link in here. Okay, and again, usually it's some kind of affiliate link, so that way you get credit for the person visiting the registration page. Okay, so we're gonna click OK. That looks good. So now we're gonna go ahead with, we'll kind of scan through this again. And I want to highlight this because I think it's important that he's opening up his ATB 30-day coaching program. So we're going to highlight that. And again, I have another link that I need to add in. Okay. And for this one, to get to the hype page, okay, because this one is talking about the brief 90-second video. Okay. So again, this one, we're going to use the Yahoo page, okay, as a substitute for our hype page. Okay. So that looks good. That looks good. Everything is looking good. So now we are going to move on to the next step. And again, the subject looks good. The from address is okay. And we've got the message name in there. And all we got to do is send a test email to ourselves to make sure that it looks good. So we'll send a test. And then we're going to head over to Google or to my Gmail account. We're going to refresh it. There is the email. Let's open it up. Let's display all images. And again, we're almost getting there. It looks like one of the links looks good. The other one does not. So we'll go ahead and head back into ActiveCampaign. So we'll close that out. Head back into ActiveCampaign. And we're going to go ahead and fix that bottom link. Okay, the second link did not work. Don't know why, but it happens. Okay, so you can see it looks like that. I don't know why it does that again, but we'll go ahead and we'll fix it. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's make sure we copy this. Okay, and we're going to remove the link. Okay, and we're going to unformat this because it turns out bold every time. And we're going to re-add the link. Okay, it looks good. We're going to head over to next. We're going to go ahead again and resend that email. Okay, now we're going to head over to Google again, or Gmail, and see what it looks like. So open it up, always display images, and voila, it looks like it's working. We're going to test our links here. Okay, first one should go to Google, second one should go to Yahoo. Okay, there you go. There's Google. And let's go ahead and check the other link. And there we are. Here we are in Yahoo. So both links work. Okay, so let's head on back to ActiveCampaign. Let's finish out email number 3. And then we're going to go ahead and save. Okay, so you see we've got email 1, email 2, and email 3. And now we are going to do our final email, email number 4. So same thing again. We are going to send an email. We are going to create a new email. And of course, we are going to call this case study email 4. And this is the final email in our automation. Okay, and we're going to choose our template. Choose our subject. Okay, so we're going to go down to email number 4. You can see we've only got one subject line here. So we'll go ahead and paste that in there. Click continue. And now we are going to go in and we are going to copy our email text here. This is the day of email. So this email is just to be short and frank and just say, hey, look, the webinar is happening today. So go ahead and register if you haven't, and I'll see you there. Okay. So we'll go in here. We're going to highlight all of this and we're going to paste it. Okay. So here you go. And you can see I've got one link over here. Okay. So I'm going to remove that. And because it is the day of the webinar, I don't want to send them to my hype page because that's just an extra step for them. So I'm sending them directly to the registration page for the webinar. Okay, so we're going to go here and we're going to add in I'm going to just send them to Google because this is our hypothetical registration page. Click OK. Everything looks okay, and we're going to click next. All right, so now the subject looks good. The from address and name looks good. The message name looks good. All we got to do is test it to make sure that it will look good when our recipients receive this email. So we send a test. Now we're going to go into our Gmail account. Here is the email. Let's open it up. And yes, the final one works. The link looks good. We're going to go ahead and click on this and see if it opens up our Google page. And there you go. So it works. So all of the emails are done. We're going to go back and finish this out. And we are going to click Save. So there you have it. We have all 4 emails set up, okay, in our automation. All right, so before we end on part number 2, I wanted to add in this special section because there's one email that I forgot to show you and show you how I did, and that is the follow-up email. So now I only did one follow-up email, but it was pretty effective because it helped me to get $1,000 in 48 hours. So this is one email, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Let's head over to our Google Docs here. So I crafted a very short and direct email telling people that, hey, you know what? If you missed out on Philip Barrowman's launch jacking webinar, he's posted a replay. So this is where we would add in a link right here, okay? And the replay was going to be up for 48 hours or until all 20 spots were taken. So at the time, 9 spots were already taken. So I had to let people know that they had to act quickly, okay? So I left another area here for a link to go ahead and watch the replay again, okay? So they had 48 hours in order to do that. And if they had any questions, then they could reply directly back to me and I would help them, okay? So now the clock is ticking. People have 48 hours before they lose out on the opportunity to sign up for the Advanced Traffic Blueprint. Now, let's go ahead and I'll show you how I did it. There was no automation involved in this. This was a straight email blast, okay? So as soon as the webinar ended, I went ahead and I crafted the email and I sent it out right away as soon as I had that link from Philip, okay? So we're gonna go into our ActiveCampaign account, and then we're just gonna simply create a campaign. And then from here, we're gonna give it a name. So we're gonna call this ATB 48-hour replay email. And we'll just say 1, okay? And we're just gonna do a standard campaign. We're gonna click next. And then from there, that is where I would choose my list that I'm gonna send it out to. And I'm gonna go to next. And again, this is where I would choose my standard template that I have. I'm gonna give it a name. We're just gonna type in 48-hour replay available for, we'll just call it Advanced Traffic Blueprint. "48-hour replay available," okay? And then we're gonna click on continue. And this is where, again, we're going to edit that email. So we're just gonna highlight all of this. Okay, we're gonna go back. We're gonna copy our email here. And we're gonna go back in to ActiveCampaign. We're gonna paste it in there. And this is where we get a chance, again, to format it like we did all the other emails, okay? So I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna add a link in here, okay? So if you missed it, I'm gonna just put this in here and we'll just add in, for an example, we'll add in a replay and we'll use this as Bing, okay? Because the other two was Google and Yahoo. We'll give Bing some love here, okay? So we'll use Bing. Okay, you notice that it turned black again. Active campaign, you guys got to fix this. So we're going to go back in here. We are going to copy this. We're going to remove the link and we're going to try it all over again. Oh, and it did not work again. Why are you not working Active Campaign? So let's try this again. Let's remove the link. Let's try a different link right here. We'll try this again. There, much better. So we're going to leave it like that. It looks better. I don't know why I did that, but sometimes it's a little quirky. So we just learned how to deal with those situations. And then this last one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to highlight this last part here. I'm going to paste in my hypothetical link, and there you go. So now we're going to go over to the next stage. And then from there, let's take a look here. You can see that the subject line looks good. You can see everything is all set. And now we are going to go ahead and send a test email to make sure that our email is ready to go. So we're going to send a test. All right, now we're going to check our Gmail account. And there it is. We're going to open it up. And there you go. Looks good. Okay, so this is the email that I sent out. I did it manually. I did not send it via any type of automation. It was sent manually, and that's how I did it. Okay, I'm not going to send this because if I do, it's going to go out to my list, but I just wanted to show you that when it's ready, if I keep it as a draft, so if I save and exit here, what's going to happen is Active Campaign is going to save it as a draft, and then you can see it right here, and then I'll be able to send it when I'm ready. So that's when I get that link from Philip for the replay. I'm going to drop those links in there, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send it out to my entire list. So that's how I created the follow-up email, that one follow-up email that I did, and that's how I set it up. And then basically when you're ready to send it out, you just go ahead and send it out. And that's it for video number 2. Now, in video number 3, I am going to go over how I customize this automation to ensure that the people that are going through my automation actually see my emails. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through that entire step. I definitely appreciate you watching this video number 2. I hope you found some value in it. Stick around, because in video number 3, this is where we're going to make some of these automations, do some resends, do some really cool things to make sure that our contact lists receive the emails on a timely basis. And if they don't receive them or don't open them, then we have a fail-safe where we can actually email them again. So stick around for video number 3.